Hey guys, it's Cameron and I'm here with Mariah. I've spent the last 2 years of my jiu-jitsu journey concentrating entirely on doing Marcelo Garcia's game to the T. I'm trying to copy him and emulate his game because I feel like for his style of jiu-jitsu, anyone can use it of any size. I'm 130 pounds and I don't want to be caught up in too many inverted guard games or things that put my legs in trouble. Areas where I'm relying too much on strength or flexibility hinders my game, and in the long run it's going to get me hurt or injured. In my opinion, Marcelo Garcia's game keeps your spine straight and safe, and it keeps your body from using anything less than just perfect bone structure to apply techniques that anyone can use. And that's what's going to give you the longevity to do jiu-jitsu your whole life. So there will be some instructionals in this part series, and there will also just be some concepts I talk about that Marcelo Garcia does really, really well, better than probably anybody else. And I think it will really help understand some of the techniques in a way that maybe Marcelo hasn't articulated, but maybe it's because he didn't feel he needed to. So I'm going to try to speed up that process as a buffer or a kicker.
I got what it takes to make the club go right.
The first thing I think that sets Marcelo Garcia apart from other world champions is the way that he uses grips. Whereas most world champions rely a lot on these tight grips and everything, Marcelo is more cupping, grabbing, whenever he gets the chance, much less finger work and much more arm and wrist work. And I think the reason that helps his game so much is when you stop gripping so much, you don't tire as quickly. Think back to your last tournament or the last time you had a hard roll. The first thing that you probably think of as far as fatigue is your forearms lighting up and being exhausted. Now, whereas most jiu-jitsu practitioners, they think, I need grips and I need to have strong grips. So what I'm going to do is work my grips out. I'm going to strengthen my wrists and my fingers. I'm going to strengthen these so that they're so powerful that it doesn't fatigue me to use them anymore and that no one can break those grips. And I think that's a great strategy, but I think Marcelo went the other direction. He said, there's so much that goes into tiring yourself out with tight gi grips that if I rely solely on those, I'm going to lose cardio. I'm going to lose a lot of energy going into these grips. Not to mention, I'll also take a lot of damage to my fingers. If you've seen the Meow Brothers' fingers, they haven't even been black belts that long and their fingers are already destroyed for life. The swelling and the damage that happens to your joints from so much impact when you strip a grip, go ahead, that over and over countless of times every single day for years, it's going to destroy your hands in the long run. And what Marcelo Garcia has done is really going to help keep you safe and healthy with happy fingers instead of this pain and slowly breaking your body down. You want to be able to train as long as you possibly can. So that's why I think the grips are a very important thing to study when Marcelo fights. For instance, where as many people, go ahead and go like you're passing my guard, as many people would come with grips like here, maybe grips on the pants, Marcelo, anytime he gets the chance, instead of gripping behind the shoulder, if he can manage it and he feels comfortable, he'll just cup. What this does is it saves your fingers from wrapping on the gi, and now you're engaging your wrist and your hand. Same concept with this 2-on-1. Instead of rolling the hand here, sometimes he pistol grips because it's not as hard on your fingers, and if she strips the grip, it doesn't hurt to break. Whereas when I'm rolled up in here in the old school grips, when she breaks that grip, there is some impact and twist on my fingers that I wouldn't like to deal with all the time. Alternatively, you'll also see him grab wrists like this or like this. What's nice is it's just as strong of a grip as here, but if it gets broken, there, or come over top and push down on it, it doesn't impact my fingers. And when my fingers aren't having to work as hard, I'm saving energy in the long run. This can help in tournaments and in the gym. Guys, I remember when I was a blue belt, after a lot of training, long days on open mats, my fingers would always ache. Everything would be so sore, it would hurt to pick up a glass of water. And I had all these cuts up and down my fingers and blisters and stuff on my cuticles. Very painful, and I always thought it was just part of jiu-jitsu. It was part of the grind. But the more that I trained, the more I realized if I use my grips less, my hands and my wrists will feel healthier after training. I never feel burnt out, at least in my arms after a long open mat session anymore. And a big part of that is the way that I've changed my game. Now, you'll even watch some of the better gi grips that guys have. Rafael Lovato Jr., Leandro Lo, these guys have very strong gi grips and they have very strong chokes. But you'll notice that when they have their chokes, go ahead and lay down. Maybe this first hand goes in, maybe it doesn't, but like sticking this hand inside the collar here and finishing, it can be very grueling on our fingers. And you'll see even these guys that have these powerful fingers that are destroyed, they're starting to adjust their game to be safer. You'll start seeing them just cup this shoulder and they'll still get the tap. And what they're doing is, maybe it's subconscious, maybe it's not, they're starting to realize they don't need this gi grip on this shoulder anymore. They don't need these tight grips. All they need is the right pressure to finish. So that's how I approach my entire game. Go ahead and sit up. On my butterfly suits, where I used to grab on this collar, grab behind the elbow, pull their weight on top of me, use that to sweep. Now I use the same area of pressure, I'm just not using tight grips. Now I'll cup behind the neck, use the pressure from my elbow on the shoulder. I'll come behind her elbow here, nice and tight, so that it's like a meat hook, a squid. I can't let that out, I can't let that post. Whereas gripping here was a little easier. Now I just have to be a little more sensitive. And I can get the same sweep with the same pressure. The only difference is at the end of the roll, my hands still feel just fine. Now guys, not being able to grip will affect a lot of things. Most importantly, there will be a lot more movement. And if you guys have never heard this before, a lot of people consider Marcelo Garcia the king of scrambles. And part of that is because he's in so many scrambles. And I will be honest with you guys right now, if you're not gripping, go ahead and stand up. There will be more scrambles. If instead of grabbing the pants tight, I'm cupping here, it's easier for her to kick out. And it's harder for me to hold my opponent down if I can't be pulling them in with tight grips. It's a little scary at first, but you just got to get in the habit. Go ahead and start passing. You just got to get in the habit of always moving. Go ahead and like move around a little bit. Yeah, maybe I'm not gripping everything so tight, but I just stay with her and my body becomes more attentive to where the person's moving and less reliant on stopping their movement in the first place. Less of this, more of just movement, just the flow, being able to follow them. What will happen is your matches, not only will they be more exciting to watch, but they'll also be way more movement based. And that's not a bad thing. You just got to embrace it. You got to get in the habit of moving a lot. It'll help your cardio. And the cool thing is, if the guy on top, if the person who's rolling with you, they're still trying to grip and hold you down, they're still trying to get these tight grips, you're already winning the cardio battle because you're both moving just as much. You're both burning energy. But if you're not committed to all these tight squeezes and grips and holds, they're tiring themselves out faster than you are. And that's a big reason why Marcelo Garcia has been so successful.
But when it comes down to it, you gotta make your own decisions. Steady serving these suckers on the daily. I may be a little bit crazy, but amazing with the way these rhymes be formulating and blazing by way of my mouth. Yeah, true hip-hop, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, no doubt, no diggity, kicking these exquisitely orchestrated lines. Never once in my life have I ever wasted rhymes. Alright, fuck it, I'm done.